Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft to Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue. Oscar-winning filmmaker Jordan Peele says he's making a documentary series that he promises will overturn the public perception of the Old West. Now, according to reports, Jordan Peele is producing an untitled Black Cowboy docuseries that he says will rewrite a foundational piece of American history, unmasking the forces that erased the identity of the black cowboy from frontier history and prevent us from telling our stories. Now, this is what Jordan Peele is proposing to do on the platform of Peacock, and I doubt that he's going to be able to do this. Yes, he was able to make a film, Nope, about the whole mythology of the black cowboy, but I'm just going to say, nope, we're not going to get anything that's going to overturn public perception of the Old West. Now, when it comes to the Old West, the media arm of white supremacy has done a great job of basically erasing the entire picture of black cowboys from public perception. And it's done a job so well that people don't even associate black people with cowboys, even though the whole term of cowboy was a racial slur designed to degrade the masculinity of black men who traveled to the Old West after slavery in an effort to try to find a way to make a living once they got their freedom. And as those black men took on many of the dangerous jobs that many of the white men did not want to do, such as breaking horses and doing back-breaking labor, many of those in those Old West towns, what they would do is call the cowboys boys because they did not want to acknowledge their masculinity as the ranch hands and laborers and give them the title that they were supposed to have. So what they wanted to do with the cowboy was basically degrade the black man and make it where he could not be the man he's supposed to be. And that's one part of the history of the Old West most people don't want to talk about because with white supremacy, they don't want to acknowledge that, like the rest of America, it was built on the labor of black people because it was the labor of black men who went out into the Old West that helped build the Old West. So what they want to do is minimize that history, and we would get the same sort of minimization from this Jordan Peele documentary that makes the claim it's going to basically turn everything we thought about the Old West on its ear, but we have to think about the source that it's coming from, because if this is a project that's on Peacock, Peacock is a part of the media arm of white supremacy, and the media arm of white supremacy isn't interested in telling stories that elevate black people or elevate the black image. So this whole documentary is not going to overturn the public perception of the Old West. No, the way you overturn the public perception of the Old West is by doing your own research, because when it comes to Hollywood, it has a history of making projects they say are designed to change perceptions of black people, but oftentimes when these projects are made, what happens is that they're made to meet the standards of white supremacy before they hit the air. I mean, when it comes to media like The Cosby Show, that's the exception and not the rule, because if we look at the over 50 to 60 years of Hollywood, The Cosby Show in that golden age was a rare exception, and by about 1990 we were back on the road to hood movies and ghetto stuff, and by the 2000s with Monsters Ball we had basically mainstreamed the degradation of black people. So I'm not really expecting this documentary series to overturn any public perception, because in order for this project to get greenlit by the media arm of white supremacy and its executives, it would have to meet their standards. So I'm not seeing this documentary about the Black Old West really going out here and overturning any public perception. No, that public perception about cowboys has basically been burned in people's minds by the media arm of white supremacy, which went out here over 150 years ago and began whitewashing those stories as far back as they started publishing legends like that of the Lone Ranger. Now, the legend of the Lone Ranger, Bass Reeves, was basically a story that they basically completely rewrote and whitewashed and put on their radio serials. I mean, most people for over 150 years never knew that the character of the Lone Ranger was a black man, Bass Reeves. No, we didn't know that until maybe about 10 or 15 years ago by people like Kevin Grevious's great Bass Reeves comic book series, which I highly recommend you get, and avoid the adaptation that was made by Hollywood of the Bass Reeves story made by one of these black bootlicks, which is far below par as related to telling a story of a black person in the Old West. I mean, this Bass Reeves series was one of the worst things I've ever seen, and basically it just was a complete waste of time. And with that being the standard for what we're going to get as related to any sort of black media representing the Old West, I'm not really expecting much as related to a adaptation of Hollywood as related to this documentary talking about black people in the Old West, because there has been a campaign for over a century to basically whitewash many of the parts of black history as related to the Old West, because what many people don't know is that there were many black cowboys like Deadwood Dick and Bass Reeves out there, and their stories never got told. And if they got told, what happened, like in the case of Bass Reeves, it got completely whitewashed. And as it got completely whitewashed, we saw a black story turned into a white one, because with the media arm of white supremacy, their whole campaign is to go out here and not only elevate the image of the white man and white woman, but also go out here and degrade the image of black people, because when it comes to Hollywood, their whole thing is about making programming to change your mind and control your mind with their stories, and they don't want you to see a black person in a positive light. So I don't really think we're going to get much of a documentary that's going to change public perception about the Old West to make people see black people in a positive light from Jordan Peele, when he is deeply entrenched and ensconced in the media arm of white supremacy, and they're going to basically tie his hands as related to whatever media he's going to produce. So yes, he's got an Oscar, and yes, he did put some of those things explored in his movie Nope, but nope, they're not going to put that in any documentary that's on Peacock, because again, these networks basically are about promoting anti-black narratives. So I'm not really expecting much from this whole black Cowboy series. No, I'm not expecting much, because when I look at what Hollywood has been producing, like that, again, awful Bass Reeves series for Paramount Plus, and I look at Seth MacFarlane, Steph Curry, and the late Norman Lear's animated Good Times, which is completely trash, and a show that basically is about perpetuating, breathing brand new life into old racist stereotypes, showing us a world of black people that basically fit a white person's standard. My expectations of a Jordan Peele documentary about black people in the Old West, my whole thing is I'm not expecting much. All I'm expecting from this series is basically doing what Hollywood does, is trash the image of our heroes and our icons, and go out, and as it trashes the image of our heroes and our icons, then go out here and try to paint a picture of them in a negative light, focusing like the Bass Reeves series on Paramount Plus on Bass Reeves being a part of the Confederacy, making Bass Reeves into a super brute black man who beats up white people, and never really showing us the human side of Bass Reeves. That's what we got from Paramount Plus, and from their competitor in the media oligarchy, we're possibly going to get more of the same. And the only public perception that's going to get overturned is you're just going to get people emotional as they go out here and promote our heroes as super brute black men and not really show us the human side of black people. So when it comes to Hollywood, when they say they're making projects for black people as related to film and television, I've basically lost faith in a lot of these black filmmakers because I know that many of these black filmmakers are not about elevating the black image or inspiring and uplifting black people. No, most of them are all about going out here and getting their next job in the media arm of white supremacy and looking to get you entertained with their kinds of stories. And this is why black people have to go out here and support new black media like the SJS Direct imprint, because new black media isn't trying to be a part of mainstream media, because new black media is us. And with new black media being us, producing stories for us, this is the only way we can get our stories presented in a balanced and humanized way and have our stories presented in a way that respects the history of our heroes, respects the history of our stories, and we're not going to get that on mainstream media, no, because when I heard Jordan Peele from a viewer that was making this Black Cowboy series, I know I'm not going to get anything on the level of Mario Van Peebles' Posse. No, I'm not going to get anything on that level of love and passion to show us black cowboys as they were, and show us the humanity of a black cowboy and show that these were good, hardworking men. No, I'm not going to get that from the media arm of white supremacy or those who are affiliated with it, because the mainstream media's job as related to the black image is to degrade the black image, and I'm not expecting much as related to this documentary. If anything, it might possibly be another docuganda, similar to the ones that were designed to malign the reputations of Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, and that would be, again, an embarrassment if it were the thing with Jordan Peele, if he goes out here and makes a docuganda against our heroes, because that would just show that he is not really for us, and that's what I really am dreading, because when it comes to a lot of black entertainers, they will, yes, announce these kind of projects, but these projects will not be ones that will be designed to empower and uplift us. No, we have to go to new black media like my SJS Direct imprint if you want that kind of material. And if you want that kind of material, you have to go to black people who are about black empowerment. Now, we may not make a lot of money or may not be able to get many products out, but we have passion and heart and love for black people, and we want to see black people get the real story, not something that's whitewashed and repackaged that will make the story comfortable for the white folks who basically want to make it look like they're doing something passively as related to dismantling the whitewash mythology of the cowboy, but in actuality what they want to do is keep pushing white supremacy in these media platforms, because the history is out here. What you have to do is go out here and read it like I do when I go out here and do research for many of my SJS Direct Universe stories. I go out here and read the history of black people, and again, that history is out there. You just have to go out here and do the reading so that you won't have to get your history from these white supremacist media platforms like Peacock, which are basically strutting out Jordan Peele like a peacock to tell our story and tell us their version of our story instead of us getting it from ourselves. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find the books of the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my black vampire novel, Eternal Night, my black sorority novel, The Thetas, and my black business novel, A Recipe for Success. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and you can find them at Big big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Isis Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Isis Dark Incubus at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.